December 29th, 1963. The town is Chicago. The two best football teams in the world meet in a deadline to glory.
That was the first game I ever went to. My uncles couldn't have picked a better game for me to go to.
No one has played middle linebacker better than Dick Butkus.
In my opinion, the greatest defensive football player that ever lived. Gale Sayers once asked me who was better, me or Peyton. I said, if I need one game, I want you. If I need a season, I'll take Walter. He says, that sounds fair. Changed the whole culture of the Chicago Bears. Enjoyed working with the guy, enjoyed being friends with the guy, and he's a legend.
You're 100% right, but you're a pain in the butt.
I actually cried when they won the Super Bowl. I couldn't believe it.
I just have one thing to say. We all have bragging rights over the whole goddamn country.
Lovie Smith was a heck of a coach. Now, I was not a Lovie Smith fan, but he made me a Lovie Smith fan. Matt Nagy sabotaged his career. Him and Trubisky had something good going. They made the playoffs twice in 4 years. He took his career, threw it in the dumpster, and now he's getting coffee for Andy Reid. I like the Bears for third place this year, but surprise us. 5 to 6 teams a year that make the playoffs are new teams that didn't make it the year before. Hopefully they'll be one of them.
Welcome, everyone, to the Mike North Advantage. My name is Aldo Gandia, and with me is the star of the show, Mike North. How are you, my friend?
God bless America. We finally got a win. God bless America.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. V-Day, V-Day. Women kissing men in the street. The Bears win. That could be like if the Bears beat the Packers, you just, kiss on the street like they did with VJ Day in World War II.
I love it.
That's about how long it's been, for God's sake. But congratulations to our Chicago Bears. They got some breaks along the way. Then they screwed it up almost. We would be today, if that ball did not go through the uprights, we would be just singing doom, doom, doom. And we're still going to sing some doom. We got a lot of work to do, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. In my opinion, we still have the fourth best team in that division. But Green Bay showed some weakness yesterday. They need that game. They didn't want to really lose that game. We saw what the Chicago Bears did, some turnovers and, some big timely runs. Swift did well. Caleb Williams comes through in the second half, but we got big problems unless they get straightened out with him because he can't be thrown for 143 yards a game. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. But you know what? They won the game. And he did come through in the second half. And he did win the game by hitting that big pass. But I did not see enough. I mean, I can go over everything here. I mean, the best, it looks like I'm going to just do what everybody did to me. It looks like we took the wrong guy. We'll start now, even though I don't know if we took the wrong guy, because Caleb Williams is showing that breaking a Bear record, like I said, was like me being valedictorian in my summer school class. Yes. Yeah. Mike, you're the smartest one in the summer school class. Breaking a Bear record for rookies or anything like that is like you're breaking records from the 40s and 50s, But we did win the game. He showed some progress. But this stuff that next year, I got news for everybody. In the old days, this was the second season. They played 14 games. So this would be his third game yesterday. And he'd still be struggling, folks. And the team would still be struggling. Now, we're only calling it one season now because we play 17, soon to play 18. But in the days back in the 70s and 80s, we played 14 games. So when they say he's a rookie, not by the way that used to be, he'd be starting his second season. And for Thomas Brown, they asked him how would the offense look if he comes back next year. And he said, oh, a lot different. It didn't look different for 5 weeks. It didn't look different. You threw the bubble screens. I thought Gary Quilton was back. You're throwing bubble screens. I mean, my God, I couldn't believe. But he did utilize DJ Moore well. Keenan Allen played well. The offensive line, I thought, did a pretty decent job yesterday. But they got a long way to go. I'll give out the grades today of what I saw. I mean, Caleb Williams, to me, right now gets a C-. I'll give him a C-. He did some good things, but he didn't win the games. But he had some very, very good stats to put up. He's getting a little bit more confidence, but he's going under a new coaching staff again next year. So we'll see what that does to him. They'll be under probably a different coordinator. So it's just been a circus for him. But I'll give him a C-. I'm going to grade with the curve on him because he lasted the whole season. He did beat the Green Bay Packers. He did show that he doesn't throw the ball in other people's hands. So I think a C- is pretty good, considering I had him at an F+, D-, D+ for, some of the season this year. So, C- is not bad. The running back situation, I give a D+. Thank you, Trapakeepa. The D+ for the running backs, only because they didn't go consistent enough with the running game. I thought Swift played a great game yesterday. Defensive line, I give it a D because Caleb Williams, and for people to come out, and I don't know if we talked about this, I thought last week he came out with some accountability by saying it wasn't the offensive line's fault. And gee, what a leader, what accountability. You don't wait till the 18th week. If you're having trouble and you let your offensive line hang for 18 weeks and then you go, hey, guess what? A lot of it was me. Well, Troy Aikman and Darren Johnston and other people in the league dissected this 8 weeks ago. So we knew it. It was good you finally came out, but your boys took a beating for 17 weeks, and some of it was your fault. But I think you even realized after watching some of the film. So that's a pretty good positive mark. Now, where is Caleb Williams compared to the other guys? Bo Nix, 26-29, 321 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He's a coach's son, folks. He knows how to play the position. And he put up a big display last week against Cincinnati. Right now, he and Jaden Daniels are the 2 best rookie quarterbacks in the league. In fact, Nix has come on with a bullet. I don't know if Daniels probably has enough to win Rookie of the Year. Drake May did not play yesterday, but I think Ben Johnson, if the Crafts and the McCaskies both, because I heard, well, Jared Mayo's coming back. Jared Mayo's coming back. No, he's not, I said. And I said, if I'm Ben Johnson, I never touch the Bears. Go with Drake May, go with New England, go with Kraft. Get out of the Bears division. Get out away from Detroit. Get away from Green Bay. Get away from Minnesota. You have to contend with Buffalo and New England. But that's if Kraft wants him. He might go after Mike Vrabel. The Jets have already interviewed 3 coaches. We haven't interviewed anybody yet. So I don't know if they're waiting, maybe to wait and see what's left. I mean, as usual, we're not taking the aggressive approach, but we have asked permission to talk to both Aaron Glenn and to Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson could be a world beater, but I think Ben Johnson knows there might be better jobs out there. Everybody says the Bear job is the best job. I don't understand that. I like the New England job. You know what I mean? I like other jobs. Plus, you got to like the front office at New England better than you like the front office with Chicago. Plus, you have a leadership board. You got to get past the players, which you'd have to get rid of. That's got to go. That leadership board that got Jalen Johnson more power to get rid of coaches, and the same with the guys like Komet and all those. I'd get rid of that. Concentrate on football, whoever the new coach is going to be. Quit worrying about agendas. Quit worrying about the girls' football team. Who's umping? If the chairman's going to ump a game in Sycamore, we don't care. If community notes, we don't give a damn. Bear fans just want to win. That's all we want to do. So Bo Nix, 26-29, 321 and 4 touchdowns. And I didn't know he was a coach's son. And when you're a coach's son, you just know more than everybody. Jim Harbaugh was a coach's son, folks. And that helped him. If he hadn't been a coach's son, I don't know if he plays quarterback and even has a winning record with the Bears. So that's just fantastic. Pennick goes 21 of 38, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Daniels didn't play, but he went 6 of 12, but he got sacked 4 times. Caleb goes 21 of 29 for 148 yards. That ain't going to cut it, but he did have a touchdown, and once again, does not throw an interception. Bryce Young, getting away from Thomas Brown, who was 2 and 11 with them last year, is back. 25 of 34, 3 touchdowns, no sacks. They finally got the Thomas Brown stench off of him, who coached him after they got rid of Reich. Mitch Trubisky, have to get him in today. Mitch threw a 69-yard touchdown pass yesterday, 15 to 21, 101 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. They lose to New England 23 to 16. I think that the defense played a lot better yesterday. There's no doubt about it, but it helped that Malik Willis, who stinks, by the way, that sack he took. I'm trying to figure out how Darren Johnston, if you're looking this way, you're not supposed to see that sack. Boom. They got leveled. The Bear defense came out to play. So it was a strong game, but it was too little too late for Thomas Brown and that coaching staff. I really don't want to see any of them back next year. Although Hightower might have saved himself with that beautiful deke that we pulled with Johnny Knox way back in the day. So it was a great day. I was happy to go to finally say we beat the Green Bay Packers. It's something you can build on. It's something that was good. You go down to Lambeau Field and you win a football game. And they didn't want to play the Eagles. I think they're going to end up playing them anyway, the way things were working out. By the way, the Bear punter had a great year and broke some records too. And he was the guy who was never going to have to punt, remember? So Toy Taylor, some rookie marks that he broke down. So at least we won that last game, Aldo, and I give him a lot of credit for winning that game, for going out there. We had some opportunities. We dinged up Jacobs. We dinged up Love. I don't know if we can beat them with those 2 guys playing, but doesn't matter. We put them out, and that's the way the game is. And then they finally got smart and started seeing some of their best people. So congratulations to the Chicago Bears and their win yesterday. But let's see, it's going to be an interesting offseason. We're going to hear so much garbage about coaches, different coaches coming. You know, I heard today Norm Van Brocklin's interested. He's been dead for 30 years. I mean, enough. Harlan Savari. Don Coryell's interested in the Bears offense. Please stop it. That's for 15 years. Everybody's name's going to be entered into the mix. I did like what Sylvie said, that the Bears are going to talk to some guy, the guy from Arizona. I never saw him before.
Yeah, Drew something.
Yeah, which really, I was like nonplussed by that. But Sylvie was funny. Sylvie said they won't talk to Belichick, but don't talk to this guy. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
So that's how I got. That's what I got, and I know that people have some questions, but I'm pretty happy with what happened yesterday, because if we would have lost, this would be a whole different show. Although Aldo and Mike, and that is, as you know, this is the show I do prepare for, that we would have been having a fit, because I know I watched some of his videos. He's ready to lose his mind. Why don't you hand off? I mean, you saw something yesterday. Caleb took a beating. They're going to keep him into the end. Bajan couldn't get in the game. I mean, God bless him.
It was stupid how they handled this game for Caleb. Clearly, Thomas Brown was coaching to get his first win, because he didn't want to risk Caleb doing anything, throwing the ball over the middle, throwing the ball deep. He wanted to keep it as simple as possible, because he wanted to win more than he wanted to develop Caleb. That's my point of view.
Yeah, and I do say that for him to say that you'd see a whole different offense was back next year. You had a month. You've had all year. You were the passing coordinator. Here's what I don't want to hear. I had a bad dream last night. You know what a bad dream is? Some of these coaches I'm hearing actually being hired. Okay. I had a bad dream. Thomas Brown was rehired, and that was a bad dream. Okay. I don't know why. I think Eric Bieniemy may get a look, and that guy's been fired twice in the last 16 months. But I just know that their front office will probably talk to him. I've had it with Kansas City Chiefs, from Poles to Nagy, and I don't want an Eric Bieniemy. I see where they're talking about now Brian Flores and Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph. The Jets are interested in Vance Joseph, and so are the Bears. Okay, let's knock off all the crap, okay? If those two guys come, I may have to buy a different hat to root for next year. I don't want a defensive guy. I want the guy like this. Yeah, give me an omelet, everything on it. Give me mustard. Give me some toast, wheat. And also throw a pitch out a run 22 blue 5. You know.
Do you have any of BB's cookies?
Yeah, cookies. My God, I mean I just want to see somebody. And Aaron Glenn, look, they're not bringing these guys with them. They're not bringing the Detroit line. You can't bring Jared Goff with you. You can't bring two great running backs that you have with you. You can't bring Hutchinson. How about Detroit without Hutchinson? He might be back for the playoffs, winning without him. Everybody was worried about him. They gave Minnesota a tattooing yesterday. So you can't bring those guys with you. And that's what happened with Nagy. That's what happens with these guys. And Nagy didn't even have a whole lot of planning in the offense when Andy Reid is still the coach there. And the same, that's why Bieniemy had to get out of there and actually show people that he can't do the job like he did in Washington and at UCLA with Deshaun Foster. So we'll see what happens. I still lean to Pete Carroll. The Bears told all the writers, don't bring him up no more. Yeah, don't bring him up no more. Bring up Vrabel, bring up Flores, bring up some of the other guys. Pete Carroll was hot for 4 days, and then all of a sudden, all that talk disappeared because he makes the most sense. He's an offensive coach. 3, he's a Super Bowl champ, a national champ. He's Harbaugh without the harshness and the about Jim Harbaugh, ladies and gentlemen. I said last year, it boggles my mind how I can remember this. I said, no, here's what I want. I want Harbaugh as coach. I want Marvin Harrison, okay, who had 64 catches this year, as our first pick, and then we'll take one of these lousy quarterbacks and hope they work out, like Bo Nix or somebody, because Caleb would have been gone, to somebody else. We still don't know if any of these quarterbacks, although I'm leaning Nix is going to be strong. That's the first guy. Jaden Daniels, too. But you can have an off year next year. Look at Stroud. They're still winning, though. The Green Bay game was important to get the monkey off our backs, folks. It was important. So I'm happy for the Bears. It's going to be an interesting offseason. We'll see who the head coaches are.
Do you agree with Brosky Bear, who says Ryan Poles should have been fired?
I said that at the time. I heard people say this isn't my style to get people fired. Well, no, you just look at it's gotta be your style if you're a talk show host to give an opinion. I never wanted anybody fired. They got themselves fired. Okay. Ryan Poles is 15-36 as a GM now, and you just can't let him make this next coaching job. You just can't. You can't give him you can't do it. You just can't let him be the guy that picks, which he won't be. If you think he's going to pick the coach without the McCaskies getting involved, without Kevin Warren getting involved, without what's the girl's name up there that was on the search committee, Tamika, you won't. They're all, Liz Geist. They're all going to put their 2 cents in. It's going to be the same mess as we had before. We'll find out if they're serious by who they pick. And, I think that if they pick some nondescript guy, I don't know how that's going to go. But remember, a lot of people didn't know who LaFleur was. A lot of people didn't know who McVay was. A lot of people. But a lot of people know who Raheem Morris is. See, so when you don't hear of guys, I kept hearing, well, Caleb Williams, Aikman was terrible his first year. And, this guy's terrible too. And, you remember Troy? I heard Buck saying that. Now you want me to go over the other guys that started out bad and never became call. You pick out the 2 Hall of Famers that got off the bad starts. You want me to bring up the Tim Couches? Do you want me to bring up the Andre Wares? Do you want me to bring up the David Klinglers? Do you want me to bring up the Ryan Leafs? Do you want me to bring up the Trey Lances? I mean, people keep bringing up the two people, and we know that. Oh, yeah, Troy Aikman, man. Troy Aikman had the greatest offensive line in NFL history. He had a Hall of Fame wide receiver. He had a Hall of Fame running back in Emmitt Smith. And none of these guys have that. Okay? And Peyton Manning is generational, not Caleb. And it's sort of funny. I heard Daryl Johnston say yesterday, and folks, don't listen to the West Coast guys ever again. Don't ever listen to them ever again. They know nothing about quarterbacking, nothing. That goes for Colin Cowherd, especially Bear football. That goes for all these guys. You know, they don't know anything about that garbage. Okay? All I'm going to tell you is I can pick you 50 quarterbacks that were supposed to be on. Remember the kid Young from Texas?
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to be can't miss. I thought he had one of the greatest Rose Bowls of all time. I go back to Art Schlichter. I mean, I go back. I could, for every Aikman, okay, that you name, I can name you 15 that were busts. So that argument with Peyton Manning and Aikman, to me, falls on deaf ears. I'll name you Cade McNown. I mean, my God. I mean, we can name a quarterback from every team that was a bust, period. But I do like the Aikman angle. It gives these quarterbacks hope until they start looking. If you're a Chicago Bear quarterback and you get drafted by the Bears, you know Sid Luckman or McMahon were your best. That was a long time ago, folks. All you have to do is look up Chicago Bears like they do once they get drafted on Wikipedia, and they go, Jesus Christ. You know, they must look and go, holy Toledo. They haven't won since 85, you know. So.
Mike, we got breaking news, and thanks for Trap Keeper. Adam Schefter is reporting that the Bears have asked permission to interview Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy for their head coach position. What do you think about at least talking to Mike McCarthy?
I think I have no problem with him. Another Super Bowl guy, a good organization guy. Taking the heat because Dak Prescott can't stay healthy. Taking the heat. San Francisco had an off year. You know why? Their guys got hurt. Dallas had an off year this year. Dak Prescott is hurt. Okay? You lose Dak Prescott. They had no running game. That's right, Matt. You talk to anybody and everybody. But I'll say this. You've heard me on this show say they had Jason Garrett. And why Dallas wants to get rid of Mike McCarthy and can't, I don't know. He's won 12 games 2 years in a row with that team. I mean, maybe he wants a different challenge. Maybe it's time for him to go, but I would certainly entertain him. I still like Pete Carroll better. I think a year away from the game would help him, has helped him. McCarthy going from Dallas, which is one of the top coveted jobs in football, to the Bears, lateral move. But if you're a Chicago Bear fan, after we've seen this, you can't question anybody. Oh, no! We had Thomas Brown. We had Eric Washington. We had Eberflus. We can't question anybody the Bears bring in. I just wonder, it doesn't sound like they've seeked outside help for, like they did with Polian when he went with these guys. Seems like somebody's making a list over there by themselves. I mean, I could give them less than 15 guys. I don't mind it, do you?
No, I think I agree with you. I mean, you want to talk to as many people as possible. As long
Would
as
you be shocked if he was hired? I'd be shocked if he was hired.
I would be shocked.
Yeah,
I would prefer somebody else, given that he hasn't won lately. And then when you say, he's won 12 games, well, a lot of people would counter by saying he had the talent to win the Super Bowl. Why didn't they? I
don't know if they have the talent to win the Super Bowl. Dak Prescott is not a closer, Aldo. That's the problem. And do they really?
True. He's let them down.
And they only had their over/under was only 9.5 this year. So somebody knew something. But he's still a Cowboy, so I don't understand how you can start talking to other people or asking permission.
Because his contract is up in a month or two, and so that's probably why they're asking for permission. And
that's a good power play by him, because I don't know if Dallas does much better than McCarthy. I don't. Who are you going to go out and get? Everybody wants to get rid of. See, I can go out and replace Thomas Brown. He's replaceable. But some of these guys aren't replaceable. You know, Eberflus wasn't replaceable as it looks now. How do you think? I'm telling you, Thomas Brown took his spot and did worse, but he got saved by the Green Bay game. That's what they couldn't do. And they couldn't beat Green Bay. He's not going to be SBX. But seriously, Aldo, we went like the Jets. The Jets got worse too. Although, my God, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, I had said it last week on this show. He looked pretty damn good, man. I mean, who are you going to go? Like I said with McCarthy with Dallas, who are you going to get? Who are you going to get somebody better than Aaron Rodgers? You know, where are you going? I know he's an older guy, but he tore it up yesterday.
What about Doug Peterson, who was released today by the Jaguars? Any interest in him?
Anybody that looks like the manager of my local grocery store cannot be the head of the Chicago Bears. You ever see the movie Ted? Remember when Ted well, he's got that look, you know, with the white shirt, the glasses over the eyes.
That's true.
Yeah. But Doug Peterson, he got very fortunate in Philadelphia. But yeah, he looks like the guy that comes up to the counter like this at the auto parts store and goes, "What do you need?" You know what I mean?
Don't squeeze the charming.
Well, you know, my catalytic converter is let me look it up, and they start looking through the book like this, you know.
That's great. Luis Macia says the Bears 2024 season was someone big just died, been ready to hibernate after the bye week. So
yeah. Now, let me tell you something. I'm burnt out on the Bears. We're all burnt out on the Bears. Our fan base is broken. The media is broken. The reporters are broken. The talk show hosts on radio and TV are broken. We're all broken. I mean, you know, we don't know what we want now. We don't know who we want. We don't know who's going to quarterback. We don't know. I think we know Caleb's going to quarterback, but I don't know about the depth. Our defensive and offensive line needs help. And Dan Quinn is the reason McCarthy's success in Dallas. Well, Dan Quinn wasn't with him in Green Bay, and that's Aaron Rodgers' only Super Bowl. I mean, McCarthy is pretty decorated. He's a pretty decorated head coach, and I believe he's got a winning record with Dallas too. And he's got a general manager who said it today. Are you coming back? Yeah, I'm tired too. They asked Jerry, he goes, and here's a guy that's never going to win. I bought this team for my occupation. He bought it for him and his occupation so he'd have a job. You're an oil man. J.R. Ewing knew what he was doing. J.R. Ewing didn't need to own the Dallas Cowboys. He knew. J.R. Ewing knew he was power. And you know how you know he's power? Any man that walks into his living room, and if you saw the show Dallas, and automatically a bar gets rolled in, he was the man. Yeah. They would get together and pour drinks at 4:30 because they're oil men. That's what Jerry Jones was. And all of a sudden he goes, well, I bought the team so I could have an occupation. I'm never leaving. That's what he said. He's never leaving, which at least he's honest, because that's what Virginia should just say.
Yeah.
I'm never leaving. I'm 102. Okay. The woman was alive when Babe Ruth was in his prime.
That's wild.
My God, the woman was born before the Depression. The woman wrote actually in the woman at the time. I mean, when was she born? The 1920s. I mean, the woman probably owned a 1955 DeSoto that was brand new. That's how far back we go. That's unbelievable, you know? But God bless her. She had a birthday yesterday, and I don't care. Sell the team. Happy birthday.
One more football question from this one is from Trapakipa. He wants to know, who would you target in free agency? Let me make this simpler. What position group would you want to bring in a veteran free agent as opposed to developing someone? So, for instance, would you want a veteran free agent, left tackle, guard, or would you want to develop a high draft pick into somebody you have for the next 10, 15 years?
First of all, Al, you know that this offensive lineman general manager we have can't pick his nose when it comes to offensive linemen. I mean, you saw we got Davis is gone. We put a lot of money into him. We have an offensive line, but they're so injured, and I wonder about their conditioning, just like I wonder about the league's conditioning. They don't practice anymore, but you got to go O-line, D-line, O-line, D-line. You went for the skill position players. It burns you because you got to have protection. I think that once you give better protection to Caleb, he'll become a better quarterback. I like what he did yesterday. I like how he stayed into the game. But I would just look at offensive, defensive linemen as far as drafting and as far as free agency. But I think when you draft somebody, it's a project. When you spend money on a lot of money, you got to pick the right guy. As we saw, it didn't work out with most of the Bear line. The Bears only had one starter, I think, playing yesterday that had been starting. So I understand what the Bears went through. But, we've been going through this every year. So there's always an excuse every year. Oh, the line didn't do it this year. This guy, Fields is going. I mean, seriously, the Chicago Bears have to decide what their philosophy is going to be. I mean, I like Notre Dame's game the other night. Defense and run the ball and have a tough quarterback. I mean, I watched the 30-30 on the 85 Bears the other night, and I almost teared up. There'll never be men like those guys that walk through that place again, ever.
I agree with that.
Ever. There'll never be a Ditka. There'll never be a Ryan. The only thing I wish they would have done when they won the Super Bowl, when they both got carried off, is that they would have clasped hands at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I wish they would have done, because it took both of them. But we'll never have men like Hampton again. I just don't see it. Like Otis Wilson. I'm watching Otis Wilson the other night. You'll never have guys like that. I just know it, because the whole football organization was at its peak. It was the model organization over San Francisco back in the day, or it was equal. I mean, we got rid of Wilbur Marshall, and I know we got 2 first-round draft picks, but he went on to play in the Super Bowl with Washington. He had wonderful years. Then I got to hear Otis Wilson say if Buddy Ryan would have brought back, we would have won 1 or 2 more, and I believe that. But then I have to listen to Fensick say that if McMahon hadn't been hurt, we would have won 2 or 3, and I believe both. If Ryan comes back, we probably win again. If Fensick was right, if McMahon don't get hurt, we win again. He was a franchise quarterback, folks. That's a franchise quarterback. Any guy that comes off the bench ice cold and throws 2 touchdowns in a row on him Thursday night in Minnesota's a superstar. And he was. He broke 72 records in college. And he knew how to play the position. Then you got these men on defense. Then you got the line, Jimbo Covert and Bortz. These guys were all capable, smart men. And they were guys exactly. They lived and breathed football. I don't see the same dedication anymore. I just don't. They practiced 2-a-days. And they had very little injuries. These guys don't practice at all. I saw a guy yesterday. Look at Watson from Green Bay. The guy does a pattern. Nobody hits him and his knee buckles because you're not practicing during the week. They did 2-a-days with pads. And they still had enough gas in their system to annihilate everybody. Those were men, period. 85.
That is an era of football that you will never see again.
Ever. Not here. Not around here or anywhere. Ever.
Yeah, or ever. Anywhere. Totally agree with you. Yeah. One last football.
I love one last thing.
Jay, when you were talking about Notre Dame, Jay Grizz said, "Go Irish! We did it, Mike North." How much money did the Irish win for you, Mike North?
They did okay for me, but I'm a little worried about the Penn State game because everybody seems to think Notre Dame's going to do it. Penn State's getting a 1.5, but I'm probably going to take Notre Dame. It's their strongest team since they had a good team in the early 90s. But it's their strongest team since the championship. They got quickness. They got bruising hitters. They have 2-3 running backs, and they have a quarterback that doesn't make mistakes. They have a great offensive line that was young at the beginning. Marcus Freeman's done a tremendous job. And I heard Kyle Brandt, me. Kyle Brandt says, "Hey, Jets, look at Marcus Freeman." Like he would leave Notre Dame for the New York Jets? Nobody I mean, seriously, Brian Kelly was out of his mind to leave Notre Dame for LSU. I'm sorry. He was nuts. This guy Freeman's going to get an extension. He knows he's there.
He got it. He got it. Freeman got the extension 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he was asking for the extension. I hadn't known if he had signed it yet. And he's got the extension. He's got they are the Yankees of college football, and they're back. Because guess what? The SEC, you're not being handed 2 of the final 4 spots, just handed to you. You have to play now, okay? And for all you SEC backers, don't sell me that Texas is in the SEC. Even you folks know it. Your days ended with Alabama and Georgia this year, okay? They're not in it. And Notre Dame, well, I just said it throughout. The church beat the Billies. The church beat the Billies. How do not? We got our ass kicked by them Catholics, boy. You're damn right you did, you son of a bitch. Don't ever come in our territory again. This is the people's church. God bless.
I love it.
I hope they win it, man.
A couple of people want to know your thoughts about Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator of the Lions. Would you like to see him come to Chicago and coach
with Ben Johnson? With Ben Johnson, I don't want him as I only because I don't want Aaron Glenn as a head coach. But if he became head coach, I'd probably welcome him. But I think a lot of people want an offensive coach. And if you don't have an offensive coach and Caleb Williams keeps not getting good, you know what everybody's going to say? You should have brought in an offensive coach. Now, let's say you take Aaron Glenn and you bring in Cliff Kingsbury as your offensive coordinator. Let's say you bring in Roman, you know, or one of those top guys. Let's say, I mean, North Turner's still around. Please, dear Lord. I mean, his son is a coordinator now, Scott Turner. But if you bring in somebody with a reputation as a good offensive coordinator, then maybe you accept it because the defense needs help too.
Yep. Before we move to our next segment, Mike, tell people about the good stuff over at Rahl Jewelers.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rahl Jewelers, we want to thank them very much. This is our last show until I could put my head together over the next couple of weeks, decide what my next move is going to be. I'm always cooking up something. Me and Elda will be back, but until next year, for sure, I still have, of course, wonderful sponsors at Pennyville Station and at Cumberland Chapels for somebody big just died. But Rahl Jewelers,
sorry.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. That means somebody big just died. It could be this bit. Anyway, God bless Rahl Jewelers, Brad, Ryan. I put up a picture around the same time this picture was taken. I was 32 pounds heavier, but I put it out on Twitter today. I'm going to take another picture with them, but I just wanted to say that Eldo and I took those pictures back when Jimmy Carter was still alive. He finally died. We laid him to rest after 19 months. He's laying in the rotunda right now.
Is he still there?
He's like there for 8 days. More than Reagan, more than Roosevelt. What's wrong? Check them out. Rahl Jewelers, 847-765-3000. And they'll beat any estimate you got, folks, right there on Barrington Road in Hoffman Estates.
Yeah, they had great service, great people, great products. I mean, their wristwatches are, if you're a wristwatch fan, you need to run over there because they got some beauties. Let's move on to our next segment because everybody's ears are perking up for...
Say what?
Say what, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, Eldo's favorite. No doubt about it.
Indeed.
First, I'll read some Twitter stuff, okay? Adam Rank nailed it. He picked the game 24-21. Everybody else picked Green Bay. He picked the Bears. Okay? And this gentleman, Grim, says Adam Rank nailed it. Last week, Adam took the Bears and everybody else took Detroit. Okay? Or whatever. Okay? Yeah. Adam Rank is one of my favorite people. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes to the mayor or the governors of Meatball Island, this guy is the national ambassador of Meatball Island. Adam is a homer, and Adam's got a good gig at the NFL Network, and it certainly isn't for being right that he gets to keep that gig. That I will tell you.
He's very entertaining. He's
an entertaining guy. But I also have this as a caveat. Adam picked the score. How you doing, Slick Sophistication? Yeah. That's it. Adam picked the Bears this year to go to the Super Bowl. To
He
go,
did.
yeah. You ready? I'm not done. This one guy, Grim. Right, nailed it as always. No, he nailed it as one time. Adam picked the Bears, and this is why I love him. Adam picked the Bears to go to the Super Bowl. He picked them to go 12-5. He picked Caleb Williams as Rookie of the Year and MVP. That's what he picked him for this year. MVP of the league. Caleb Williams, Rookie of the Year. Caleb Williams, Super Bowl the Bears. So, if you don't mind, I love Adam, but those picks there, to make those picks, you are a jag bag.
Bring back the jag bag.
Back the jag bag. It's a nice honor, Adam. Nick Wright picked him to go to the Super Bowl too. Okay, Nick Wright is this year was Forrest Gump. Okay, to be honest with you. If I said the Bears were going to the Super Bowl and they had this performance, I'd be afraid to go out in public. And they would have all known. Everybody would have known back then. But these guys don't go around with big cigars going, I picked the Bears to win the Super Bowl.
Do that neck thing again, Mike. Do that neck thing again.
Love it. It's an old George Goebel trick.
Oh.
I'll get you a live one in the morning.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Brian Hanley. Now that the Bears have taken the North basement and not given it back all 3 years under Ryan Poles, 15-36 and 3-15 in the division. To you. What should they do if Ben Johnson wants to bring in his own GM? Ask him about Aaron Glenn, said 2%. Trade for Kevin O'Connell, said 5%. Drive Poles to O'Hare, 93% of the Bear fan base. Small sample size, over 150 people, say drive him to the airport. How things have changed since they made that midseason move. He was pretty safe until then. It was all on Everflus, and the players or what have you. So, all about that, okay? The Jets and the Bears have expressed interest in Broncos DC Vance Joseph for their head coaching openings. And I put up, and both fan bases will be underwhelmed if he's hired by either team. I don't think anybody wants to see Vance Joseph in a Bear. I just don't. Two rookies from the University of Georgia. When people talk to me about, and by the way, the Bear receivers did have a decent year. Keenan Allen had 70 catches and 7 touchdowns this year. Okay. Which isn't bad, for 782 yards. There's only one problem, and I mean a big problem. Ladd McConkey took his place. Okay, he had 82. He had 82 catches for 1,150 yards because you don't leave Herbert unless you're asked to leave, like Harbaugh. Harbaugh replaced Keenan Allen, so Keenan Allen still had a decent year with Caleb Williams and averaged 10. He averaged 10 yards a catch, while McConkey averaged 14. And let me know he was available for the Bears in the second round. This is why sometimes you don't take an Adunzier or somebody's, or even a Harrison, because McConkey had better numbers than both of them as a second round pick. And then with Ladd McConkey, Bowers was available to the Bears too. And people are going to go, well, Mike, Komet. Bowers is the best rookie receiver all time. He just broke the record. Okay, 110 catches. Are you kidding me? For the Raiders. This guy had Minshew throwing to him. Aiden O'Connell. Okay. Aiden O'Connell. I don't see what they see in him. Throwing the interceptions in the middle of the field with clock winding down. These are just stupid mistakes. And like Tom Brady says, mentally is what takes a lot of these guys out. But I saw this guy Bowers in college.
Yeah.
And they have Michael Mayer, who had about 5-6 catches yesterday as a tight end, too. The Bears could have had a 2 tight end set. The problem is we don't even throw to our 1 tight end. Cole Komet. But Brock Bowers, I mean, Komet had 60 catches or 50 catches. This guy had 50, 60 more. That's how great this guy is. So that was those two guys there are going to be outstanding. I don't have much more except for a Sean McDonough on the Notre Dame game. I forget what the kid's name is. Okay, he got in the ref's way. I get it. But they didn't lose the game because of that. Notre Dame beat the living crap out of Georgia, okay? Georgia's got a problem, so does the SEC. Everybody's paying now. Everybody's paying, not just the SEC. So all of a sudden, Kirby Smart, Nick Saban got out just in time. Okay. And by the way, for people that don't like, Aldo goes, where do you come up with this stuff, Mike? I go, I just sit there in front of the TV like this and watch it all day. I don't do much of it. Kalen DeBoer was 9-3 this year. They lose 9-4. And people go, you're not as good as Saban. Nick Saban, his first year, did anybody say anything? No, because ESPN doesn't do any research. We're 7-6 at Alabama. So give the guy an opportunity. Kalen DeBoer is going to be a good coach. He had that bum Milroe who blew that game for him in the first half, turnover after turnover. They weren't enamored with him. That's why Milroe has declared for the draft after having 3-4 turnovers. I'd say timing is nothing if you do something like that.
Quick question before we move on to the next
I love
part.
quick questions, you know that.
Jimith asks, Mike, what are the betting odds the Bears will F this higher up?
Oh my God! Yes. Oh, this is epic. We had the number one pick. We might have picked the wrong guy. We might have picked the right guy. I know this. When we heard that Caleb Williams was generational, I knew I heard Sean Payton say yesterday, I only saw Bo Nix throw 14 passes, and I knew he was the guy over all of them, which is terrifying to me now. I knew he was the guy. Saw him throw 14. I go, let's get out of here. They left the workout. Okay? That's good coaching. I saw Caleb Williams play against Notre Dame. I only have to see one game against a very good defense, and I saw he had some issues. And I said it here the next week.
You did.
I said, come on. And then Washington had some issues. They had good defense. So it doesn't mean anything, but I didn't see generational. And then when you hear Daryl Johnson take it to another level, and this is exactly what he said, and he's been picking on him a lot. Daryl Johnson been picking on him the last couple weeks. The Dallas Cowboy guys, Aikman and Johnson, they must talk a lot. They were teammates. And they're on Caleb Williams a little bit. But when Darren Johnston says that Caleb Williams, is one of these quarterbacks that has to make faster progressions, yeah, I think that's right. But does something matter? Does it matter? Okay. Now, I think it mattered back then when they were saying it's generational, because Darren Johnston says this yesterday. Small steps. We've gone from generational. Did you remember when he said that yesterday, Eldo? Small steps. Caleb Williams next year has to take small steps. So this whole thing has turned completely around. They know they're developing. They know he wasn't ready. Like all the garbage hosts out there in California that wanted to make sure their guy got taken. I'm tired of listening to people in New York. I'm tired of listening to people in California. I saw 2 games. I knew that it would be harder than you think because he had a pass rush there. And when you're not used to a pass rush, things happen. Ask Justin Fields. Ask, even Stroud. His line's hurt this year. He's getting sacked.
Yep.
But this is what happens.
Good stuff, Mike. We'll move on to our next section, which I love. It's called
Anything Goes.
Yay!
Yeah, anything goes, ladies and gentlemen, and that is the truth. Anything does go, and we got our scores right here. Yeah, folks, I'm ready. It was the Ravens 35, the Browns 10. Everybody keeps saying Lamar Jackson should be the MVP, He's had a better year than he did the previous 2 years. Okay, fine. I would ask everybody this, because I asked Carmen this, my great partner at ESPN 1000. He hasn't won the big game yet, and neither has a couple other quarterbacks. But would you trade Lamar Jackson for Josh Allen? And I'm still waiting for Carmen to answer. So whenever you brag about Lamar Jackson, just remember there's other quarterbacks out there having a great year. And Josh Allen looks like he's going to be the MVP. He sat out yesterday, but the Ravens are a juggernaut. And they picked up Derrick Henry. And that was the pickup of the year outside of Saquon Barkley with Philadelphia. So the Browns are going back to, the Ravens going back to the playoffs at 12-5. And the Cleveland Browns had Baker Mayfield at one time. 3-14. They paid Deshaun Watson $250 million. I've said on this show and others, worst contract in NFL history, and there's no denying it. It's as bad as it gets. Bengals 19, Steelers 17. I've also said that Joe Burrow, in my 60 years of watching football, 62 years of watching football, 63 years, is the best quarterback I've ever seen that doesn't have an offensive line. Ever. He got sacked. Now, Caleb got sacked a lot more this year, but it shows in the record. He got sacked 51 times in the Super Bowl year. He went to the Super Bowl. He's been sacked like 48 times this year. He puts on just a passing display. He's got a strong case for most valuable player. And people are going to say, well, Mike, he's got a 9-8 record. Well, yeah, but it's not his fault. And on top of that, this guy just had a magical season. He had the best season of any quarterback, I would say, for yards, for percentage, for touchdowns. Just unbelievable. Joe Burrow beats the Steelers 19-17. Russell Wilson, they had a tough schedule at the end. The Bengals, the Eagles, the Ravens. So, Pittsburgh was outclassed in those games. So we'll see what happens. The Panthers, 44 to Falcons 38. This Bryce Young looks like the real deal now, folks. Bryce Young yesterday comes back from nowhere, 25 of 34, 3 touchdowns, no sacks. He just had to get Thomas Brown out of there and to get the taint off him and get Frank Reich's teachings out of there. They've done a tremendous job with him. He was supposed to be out of the league about 6 weeks ago. And now you got to feel good about what he's doing. And he outduels the Atlanta Falcons yesterday by a score of 44 to 38. Commanders 23 to Cowboys 19. Cowboys go 7-10. I think they should bring back McCarthy. I would talk to McCarthy if they wanted to let him go. I don't know if they're going to go get Belichick at Dallas. I don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to go get somebody else. I think they're good with McCarthy. We'll see what happens. They can't get Belichick. What am I thinking? He's at North Carolina. He's going to be coaching the kids there, which is great. Well, thank you, Tunnel Care Bear. The Bears 24, the Packers 22. Woo! I would have preferred that we didn't have to have a heart stopper,
Really?
but it was good to beat them. It was good to beat them. And by the way, of course, who kicks the field goal? That's right. Santos, the Magnificent. He's been good. Doesn't have tremendous leg power. Ain't going to kick you to 58, 59, but he's got pretty good accuracy. I was happy. Pressure on him big time. We miss it today. He misses it. It's a whole different show. Texans 23, Titans 14. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with Tennessee. I really don't. They thought they'd be better off without Vrabel and Ryan Tannehill. Wrong. 3-14. Huh. And I don't know. Are the draft picks all that good this year? Last year was the year of the quarterback, man.
Yeah,
right?
It's a terrible year to have the first overall pick. It really is.
I see what everybody said. We were going to pick one. Who cares? It's not loaded like it was last year. That was a draft. That was a draft. Colts 26, Jaguars 23. I think those guys got in as a group, 7 or 8 of them, and they won like $14 million. Well, thank you, PJ. I'm hilarious. That's what the wife said the other night. Yeah. Has made this season so much. Yeah, I said, yeah. I stayed awake till 9. She was happy. New Year's, I was in bed by 9:05. Believe me. Did you stay up for New Year's? Don't tell me you did.
I did, only because there was a Twilight Zone marathon. I didn't celebrate anything. I was just watching TV. Yeah, I don't do that celebrating anymore.
You don't do that?
No. Well, that I have to. I've been married.
I'll never forget. I asked her. I got the Ellis Island Award.
Yes.
With Ernest Borgnine in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my buddies were like, we thought we were with Clark Gable. I mean, it was McHale. I mean, he was
McHale's,
we were like,
maybe.
and he's holding court. We're holding court. He's talking about this, talking about Betty Davis, talking about. And so I finally asked him, I go, man, at the time, I think he was 89. You look great. I go, how do you keep it? I mean, you're energized. He says, I masturbate 3 times a day. Ernest Borgnine told us his wife was right here. I masturbate 3 times a day. We're like this. McHale just told us. McHale. All right. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yes, he did. He said it right in front of like 10 people. My wife was there. Well, first he whispered it to me. He goes, I masturbate, but everybody can hear it. All right. Colts
That's good.
26, Jaguars 23, Patriots 23, Bills 16. That's right. You give the man an opportunity. He comes in and tosses a 69-yard touchdown pass. All you got to do.
You're a guy.
I would bring back Fields. I have said this on the air. Somebody brought up today. I think it was the score. Would you bring Nagy back?
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know what? He was a winning coach with them. Him and Pace had better years. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't like how he left. I don't like how he ignored Mitch. But I'd bring Mitch and Fields back if they're free agents with Caleb and take one of them as a backup. I mean, is Bajan our guy? What happens if Caleb gets hurt? You know? Now what? I know he went 2-2. I like our situation. They're best friends, I guess, Bajan and Caleb Aldo. Would you bring them back? What would you do? Would you try? No. I'm glad you said that. I don't think I would either. I think you bring in a veteran. I think you bring in a veteran now to help them.
Yeah, I agree. You know,
and I'll say this about Mitch and Fields, both terrific teammates.
Yeah,
both
absolutely.
Teammates. And
absolutely.
they would help. They would help Caleb. And they wouldn't. But I don't think Mitch would come back, and I don't think Fields wants to come back. I think they want to move on from this what we would call bear football.
Skip Johnson wants to know if you'd bring back Bobby Douglas.
I love Bobby.
Me too.
I love Bobby.
In a moment.
You know, Bobby Douglas was bigger than the linebackers back then. Bobby Douglas we'd wait for him after the game outside the clubhouse at Soldier Field. We're going to talk to Douglas. I don't like the way he played this game. The guy would come out the door. We'd go, hi, Bobby.
Awesome.
Hi, Bobby. We do this. Hi, Bobby. All during the game. He sucks. What the hell's going on? He sucks. Pass the football. What are you doing? He had no line. He had no receivers. He had George Farmer and Jim Seymour. He had 2 white guys, one from UCLA and one from Notre Dame. Okay, he had 2 crippled running backs in Moore and Harrison, and it was just a mess, right?
It was awful.
But it took 5 guys to get him down. 5 guys. Oh, Bobby Douglas was he pitched for the Iowa Oaks. He's one of the great 2-3 sport athletes of all time. He hit a softball. He could hit a softball 250. He could throw a fastball 95 miles an hour. He pitched in the Sox minor league system. Okay,
pretty cool.
Man, I'm really going today.
You are.
Okay. I didn't have anything. That's my go-to if I'm ever surrounded by hooligans. They all surround me. Let's kick his ass. They freak out. What's he doing? What's he doing?
Call an ambulance. Oh, Lord.
Eagles 20, Giants 13. I had the Giants yesterday. I can't get away from them, and neither can Brian Daboll. He might come back. Oh God, Eagles are a good team, man. They got the one of the best offensive lines in the game. Yep. They've had one of the best offensive lines. In fact, they replaced Kelsey. You know, Aldo, I want you also to know. I know that you know that I know that I know that you know that I prepared for the show this year. I can tell.
Oh my gosh.
Last year I don't. What? All right. Anyway, Buccaneers 27, Saints 17. Saints 19. Excuse me. What am I, a preacher? Jesus. I'm going to say this. I learned a lesson that we all know anyway. It's the organization you're with.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, what do you mean? I think about 2-3 years ago, maybe 4, it's been that way. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold were both on Carolina.
How about that?
Wait a minute. I'm not done. Together this year, they threw 77 touchdowns.
Oh, my God.
77 touchdowns. One's going to win comeback player of the year. And there is, I'm going to tell you right now, look up Baker Mayfield stats.
Mm-hmm.
He has a case for MVP.
Oh, yeah.
He has a case. And I heard people say, well, Brady brought the winning attitude there. Brady's up in the booth. This guy's putting up 40 points a game. They had, and that's what I'm talking about, the Bears. The Bears is a mess. The Jets are a mess, even if they have Aaron Rodgers, because they had Baker Mayfield. I mean, they had Sam Darnold too.
Mm-hmm.
They had Sam Darnold too.
That's right.
So these are bad organizations, folks.
4,500 passing yards and 41 touchdowns.
And how many interceptions?
16.
Okay, that's why he'll lose it. I think one guy they brought up yesterday. I mean, the Bengals quarterback Burrow. He's got like 5 or 6 interceptions.
Yeah, I think it's 6. Yeah. Yeah.
The Chiefs. I'm convinced, and BB brought this up to me, that if the Chiefs were undefeated, they would have played everybody yesterday. In other words, they lost that one game.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So if they would have come in, now they got 2 losses. They were 15-2. But if they had not lost the game and they needed yesterday, they're playing their home team. Do you agree? They go undefeated.
That is a great point. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Totally
they would have
agree.
played the whole team because, to win and then to go through to win that many games. But they had a great year. And Patrick Mahomes is getting a week's rest. They're so good. Kansas City just knows what they're doing. They've had great teams every decade, I really like Mark putting no worse organization of football than the Bears has. He's got a Blackhawk logo looking at me.
I thought the same thing. Doink, 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 doink.
Oh, by the way, the Bulls have announced, because I shot won the 3-point contest against broadcasters back in the day, my first year in it, that my number will be retired, number 44, on top of the rafters. Because I think I played as much on that court as Derrick Rose did after about 3 years.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
That's hilarious, Mike.
Oh, my God. I'm happy, Boo. I saw you shot baskets for 2 years and then would go and put on a suit. They should retire your suit. They should hang your gray suit. Wait a minute. I thought it was, it's one of these. You ever see the cartoons? They go like this, What? Okay. You won an MVP. You played 4 years. Oh, my God. Artis Gilmore's in the Hall of Fame in 2011. He's the second leading season scoring average guy of all time next to Jordan at 21 points. He played for the Bulls. They should have won a championship. They almost beat Portland. And his number's not retired. But Derrick Rose goes first.
Yeah.
Dan Lear's not retired. But Derrick Rose goes first. Artis Gilmore's in the Hall of Fame. Artis Gilmore's in the Hall of Fame, and we don't have his number retired. He won an MVP with the Kentucky Colonels. He went to 6 All-Star games with the ABA. Then he went to All-Star games and with the Bulls. He played in both leagues, won a championship with the Colonels, played with Dan Issel. 2011, he gets into the Hall of Fame. And Derrick Rose beats him in.
Unbelievable.
Oh, and you know what that just shows me? Because you didn't own the team at that time, Reinsdorf. Jonathan Kovler did. Because you didn't own the team when Van Leer was there. So you don't retire their numbers, just like you did with Dick Allen. You wouldn't push him for the Hall of Fame because he wasn't on your team at the time. You'll put in Harold Baines. You'll retire Derrick Rose. Give me a break, man. Artis Gilmore getting it rammed up your ass by the Bulls organization. I read an account, and it said, it had a list of the guys whose numbers would be retired by the Bulls. Tony Kukoc is 5. Horace Grant's up there. Rodman's up there. Those guys don't get their numbers retired until Pooh gets his number retired because he grew up in Inglewood.
That's a hot take, baby.
They don't expect excellence. I'm sorry, he got hurt. Nobody was sicker. Well, no, we were all sick. It was Gale Sayers too. But no, he was not Sayers. I just, come on. And everybody's okay with it because everybody's afraid to open their mouths. Artis Gilmore deserves his number retired ahead of everybody else. Then Van Leer, then you put Aaron. And how about that? Kukoc. They said Kukoc is 5. Rodman, Horace Grant. They put a list together. They said that Artis Gilmore his number not being retired by the Bulls is in poor taste. They didn't just poor taste, and it is. It's typical Bulls. Yep. You wanted a quick fix to get it. You get sellouts.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody, I saw Artis Gilmore play. Nobody's going to tell me Derrick Rose deserves to get his number retired over Artis Gilmore. Nobody.
I was so excited when the A-Train came to Chicago.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah.
You know, he'd shoot 52, 53% from the field. Great shot blocker. Doesn't open his mouth. Doesn't tout himself. But that's an injustice.
Yeah.
Period.
Mike, a couple of questions have arisen regarding a very controversial topic. You want to finish up, and then we'll talk about the controversy over at Fox?
Chargers 34, Raiders 20. Harbaugh did the right thing. You got Justin Herbert waiting for you. Mm-hmm. Man, did he make the right move? And he's in Southern California. He's in San Diego, he's in LA. That's another thing. I can't break it. I want the Chargers to move back to San Diego. I keep calling them San Diego.
And the Raiders back to Oakland.
Yeah, bring up. We got to have it back. Enough with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Rams lose to the Seahawks 30-25. Jets beat the Dolphins 32-20. Cardinals 47, the 49ers 24. Ooh. They were talking about Shanahan getting fired. Are these people nuts? You lost McCaffrey. You lost Ayuk. Deebo Samuel was hurt. Bosa was hurt. What's wrong with you people? As soon as a team gets hurt and the coach he can't perform miracles. Purdy had a decent year for having nobody around him for the most part. Lions 31, Vikings 9. That was a message sender. I don't care what they did. That was a message sender, man. Mm-hmm. They gave. All right. Okay. All right.
PJ wants to know, Mike, how would you fix the lack of leadership among the players for the Chicago Bears?
As head coach tomorrow, if I was appointed head coach, the leadership committee is disbanded.
Go by.
Right?
I agree.
You're getting rid of what that enabled them to do was be on equal footing with the coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
And that enabled them to come in and abuse Eberflus and be under the player's thumb. It was a horrible idea, gone wrong. The last time I saw this bad an idea was the College of Coaches with the Cubs in 1962 when they had a different guy, 9 different guys managed the team. They don't run. My God. It's Clown Town. It's a carnival. You remember when Jake LaMotta goes, what am I, in a carnival here? That's what Chicago sports is. I mean, it really is. I mean, so, mean, that's what I do.
Mike, over at Fox Sports, there is a huge controversy here. Wanted to know if you wanted to comment on it at all. There is a woman suing Fox Sports and Skip Bayless and a number of other people. And within those allegations, she says Skip Bayless offered her $1.5 million to sleep with him and that Joy Taylor slept her way into the position of hosting a couple of their top sports talk shows. Got a comment?
Yeah, of course. Very attractive lady.
Oh, yeah.
I watched her. She knows her stuff. She's got opinions. Strong. I believe one of them was it Molly that was married to
Molly Curran.
Married to Jalen Rose.
Yes. Right.
Okay. They look like sisters almost, in a way. But I do know this, that they're coming out with stuff on Joy. She was charging $100 for access to her website, intimate stuff, as far as talking. This is what is being alleged. And now it's filtering out that there's some players popping up on Twitter. So, and some people thinking this is predictable. I have no idea, but I do know. I think there's 14 guys. Well, 14. So, I was it 14? Was it just Skip Bayless, or was there more guys that are charging?
The makeup artist is charging Skip and Mike. I think his first name is Mike Dixon, the vice president of sports programming. I think that's what it is. I don't know all the details, frankly.
It's a flawed system where it's almost the way the system is done. It's almost, and this is in all corporations where the women get the advantage. If they really do, they get the advantage, and then it's up to the guy to try to do it. Now, I'm going to say this: $1.5 million. My God, Skip, things are good. Take her out for a steak, Jesus. And I guess she's a married woman and other stuff like that. So I don't know that much about it. I'd like to stay out of it, but I have worked at Fox Sports Radio. And I know the TV guys took over maybe the radio side of it. I was let go after 6 years. We still had the best show, me and Andy Furman and Jonas Knox. I don't care what anybody says. And the guy then was Ed Horwitz, I think. He's the guy that hired, I think, Jessica Mendoza and others. He got tapped for sexual misconduct. So it's the industry. I know ESPN had a guy back in the day was doing John Skipper, a lot of different, but this is not nothing new. This happens in all corporations.
Absolutely true.
It happens at McDonald's. It happens at CBS. It happens at Fox. It happens everywhere. It happens at Procter & Gamble. It happens everywhere. David Letterman. Look at Matt Lauer. Look at even Brian Gumbel at times, And one of the problems is that you have people making 30, 40 an hour as receptionists, and you got millionaires walking around them all day. Okay? And a lot of these people are attractive. And I know the guys that are hiring these women, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them, isn't because of their journalistic integrity. Okay? Isn't because of what they know. I mean, there are some women, whether you want to admit it or not, that are eye candy. That also brings something to the table as far as knowledge. But that's what the industry is, and you got to watch your P's and Q's. The one thing, 1.5 million just come out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
Which almost would seem like Skip was, maybe for 1.5, baby. How about 1.5 million? Yeah, So
yeah, that sounds like high.
All I know is I stay in and lock the door now.
Good advice. Good advice. Mike, you got a Super Bowl pick before we finish the season?
We are the best, shuffling through. jumping on down, doing it for you. We're so glad we're no good. We are the Bears stuttering crew. 5-12. 5-12, doing it for you. My name is Caleb, and I throw high. I like to throw wide, and I like to throw high. My name is Swift, and I run with the ball. Every so often, I get a call. I mean, come on. My name is Met. I'm a tight end, you see. They're very active, except for me.
This is off the cuff.
Don't tell me about for the offensive line. And Caleb finally admit he's okay, but we're not shit.
That is so good.
I mean, I don't know. I'm a punter. My leg's falling off. I was told I was nothing but a jag. Thank you. I know. My wife told me that the other day. I was talented. I was taking the garbage out. Yes. All right. Yeah,
that is our season finale.
You know what? I'm gonna go with. Boy, I keep leaning. I think it's gonna come out of the AFC.
Okay.
I think the AFC is gonna come out.
KC, Buffalo.
I almost want to take the Ravens because nobody expects them to. I'm going to take Kansas City. I stuck with them they'll be the first team to win 3.
Wow. That's going to be interesting.
We won the game in 85. We haven't won in 40 years. That's no jive.
He's wound up. We can't stop him.
My name is Brown. I want to coach. No, never mind.
I love it. I love it. All right. I just want to one more time.
Go for Rahl Jewelers. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much.
We'll be back with something new. I'm coming up with something new in a few weeks. I'm going to come up with Eldo. We'll put our heads together. We'll go have lunch somewhere. Hopefully that we'll come up with something else. I got some ideas. Might be doing something else. Maybe a pickleball segment. Who knows?
Pickleball's hot, man.
I'm telling you. And so are the orthopedic surgeons. My God. They get a lot of accidents even where I live. We have pickleball courts all over the place, you know.
That's amazing.
When you're done, I refuse to play pickleball and be crippled up because I lunged for a ball that was hit by an 83-year-old man.
That's right.
He tore his Achilles as Mr. Krauthammer hit a ball and it eluded him.
That's right. Give me golf. I'd rather whiff on a golf ball shot than do pickleball. Absolutely. All right, everybody. For Mike, everybody over at Rahl Jewelers, thanks for a great season. Really appreciate it. Goodbye.